Everyone wants to be a product manager these days, but what actually makes a great one? Today, we are joined by someone who's been there, done that, and is now shaping digital transformation for Heineken across 25 different markets.
So in this Lorong product episode, we dive into Andrea's journey as a product leader, from his early days at Shell to driving digital transformation today. And stick around to the end for a fun game where we'll get his hot takes on product culture and career life.
I'm Chong Rui, and this is Denise, and we'll be your hosts for today.
So joining us today is Andrea, APAC Head of Digital Applications and Solutions at the Heineken Company. So Andrea has spent over 7 years at Heineken, driving initiatives in agile transformation, digital upskilling, and e-business across your 25 plus markets. So before that, he actually built his career at Shell, where he focused on product management and customer-facing mobile applications and digital design. So over to you, Andrea. We'd love for you to introduce yourself and share about your journey.
Very good. Thank you very much, guys, for having me. And of course, welcome everyone online. I'm Andrea. I've been my career started as a software engineer in Italy, where I kind of shaped my first steps into actually building a solution and actually, getting myself what is a product, a digital product. I've spent a couple of years in the Netherlands studying computer science as well. And during that time, I launched my own company, Cappuccino, where we were building digital products. And then I had an internship and then a career actually within Shell, as you mentioned, followed by a couple of years in Amsterdam from Heineken, and then moved into Asia for 5 years, where I'm here now, indeed, as you mentioned, looking at all the digital application and solution for Heineken in Asia.
Now, before we jump into the deep stuff, we'd like to start with something a little lighter to get to know our guest beyond his job title. So the first question is, what is one non-work app on your phone that you can't live without?
Wow. Formerly known as Twitter. Actually, I think it's one of the few social networks I still use. Facebook, unfortunately, I dropped. Instagram, I don't even have installed in my phone, and TikTok, again, I'm too old for that. Sorry, guys. No, I think, for a lot of people, it's still it's a bit controversial because now when Elon Musk took it over and etc. But in principle, I created that network of interest and people that have this kind of interest that I share. I find it super useful still. So I kind of use that still quite a bit.
Maybe another question would be, if you had to describe product management as a food dish, what would it be why?
It's interesting. As a food. So definitely product management, I wouldn't even say it's just one dish. It's like the full menu in that sense. Because you have a little bit of starters, you have a big main, and you can have the big dessert. Because it's span across so many different flavors, I would say, of not only one part of the product. You really need to be multifunctional and adaptable to really different areas. So it's not really maybe one food, but it's the whole course. I would say you need to know a little bit of everything, right? A little bit of everything, like a tasting menu, I will say, almost like that is a bit closer.
That's a good answer. All right, now that we're warmed up a little, let's get into your journey and foundations as a PM and eventual Asia Pacific leader.
So Andrea, you've had a really interesting path. You were in Shell in the Netherlands and then Heineken globally, and now you're leading digital solutions across APAC. So could you walk us through your journey? Like, what drew you into product management and digital transformation?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, to be very honest with you, it wasn't the plan. That's definitely wasn't the plan. I started my career actually, as a salesman. I was actually selling TVs and etc. in my early days. But then that besides school, so I was having my university and my major actually in computer science. And for the longest time, I really felt like, I want to become a software engineer. That was the kind of like, okay, that's where I go. But then at a certain moment, I found there was a moment of crisis in Italy back then. We're talking about 2011, and we were like, okay, do we want to just settle in Italy with my girlfriend at the time, now wife? And then we said, you know what, maybe let's explore Europe a little bit more, and then a master in the Netherlands was the answer. Again, in computer science, so I was actually still, okay, I will become a software engineer. But then through my experience, especially my startup, kind of I discovered a bit a side of myself that I never thought it was actually so prominent, which is actually I enjoy more building the interface because we were in two, right? The one was the front end, the one was the back end, right? But I enjoy more the front end and then selling it to potential customers. Then actually really go into the back end and building actually the solution. And that I think that has been the moment where I really realized, well, you know what? I'm actually quite good at it. Maybe I should actually explore it further. And I think at that moment, product management was just not the thing. I mean, there used to be, projects, and most were waterfall projects, and with the advent of agile and etc., then of course the whole movement has developed. But I think that was the defining moment. And honestly, throughout my career, and we will talk about it in later on, there were moments where I had the opportunity to go deeper in certain space, especially on software, because I have always been doing software for my entire life, or more towards the creation of these experiences. And I always choose the latter, right? So I think that's kind of how I drew myself into it. Now I can tell myself I am the best PM. That is absolutely not. I'm maybe not even that good, but I think there are some skill set that we'll talk later on that they make the whole difference when then talking with your customer, selling your product, and setting basically your product for success.
I see. Yeah, I think it's really interesting how you mentioned about knowing your customer as well, and caring about their experiences. So in that sense, we've seen that you spend a lot of time visiting like different markets and distributors to see how your products actually work on the ground. So we want to know, like, how important do you think it is for PMs to connect directly with their users, their target audiences, and how has that shaped the way that you lead your products as well?
No, so fantastic question. Again, I was lucky enough to be in I think one of the early stage of the spinning up of the movement of design sprints, which is kind of is a side way of a design thinking workshop. And the nicest part that I really enjoyed on design sprint is the end, that you have a little bit of like a prototype. And at the end of the 4 days, you basically show the prototype to the customer and you say, you know what do you think about it? Kill it or I'll continue. So it's really that part I felt that was the starting point where it's like, actually, of course it matters how you build it. Of course it matters that it has to be scalable. Of course, all these things matter. But at the end of the day, the thing that matters the most is that is my customer, user, call it whatever you want, going to use it properly, fulfill its value, and so on and so forth. So I think, again, one side is, I'm not saying that your only job should be out with the customer, for sure, right? But you also need to put in perspective that everything you think and that you build, and it could be the most amazing technology ever, but if there is no one that is going to use it, it's a bit useless. So I think the connection with the user / customer, call it whatever you want, because again, sometimes can be internal customer as well, right? Your colleagues and so on and so forth. So whenever you build a product, a digital product, you got to understand what actually is in for them, and then this really will shape how actually your solution will be adopted and eventually the success. Because as you can imagine, right, now these days technology is everywhere. You can really build it from your phone, not even from your computer with Replit, for example. But does that translate into better software or better solution? That I'm not sure. Because if you don't put the user in the mix, it might be that you hit one or twice, but then you still, I think, you will still lose potentially the value of having this user and thus understanding the requirement and thus creating a solution that is being used.
Actually, maybe you can go deeper into how you actually really user tested. So we looked through your LinkedIn. I realized you've been to a lot of different countries, including Laos, Papua New Guinea, right? You talked to different suppliers. India also. So maybe you can talk us through what was your product and what were you doing for user testing with walking the ground?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, and that's a key part. Maybe to just to contextualize it, right? Especially in the company, I think it goes back really on the, we have this way, it's about like our founder was like a pioneer. And I think I relate a lot of that. The pioneering is like, hey, and of course, in this case, it's not beer, it's digital products. But I felt that there is a lot of connection into, we had an idea, we tested in a very MVP fashion to really trying to, okay, what does it mean? And when I talk about MVP, literally was just the bare bone. But then as soon as you start to get traction, you start to get people to, hey, oh, this could be nice. I see what is going. And that part is, and again, I will come back to the user testing in a second, but I think as a PM, you also need to not forget where you are heading towards while still working on your minimum viable product. Because it's critical, because otherwise people will say, yeah, but this is just nothing, right? So if you articulate the story on, hey, yes, I know we are here, but this is the vision, this is where we are heading, I think there is a lot of potential and a lot of, again, another skill probably that the product management should really be owning. For user testing, again, I think these trips, the one that we mentioned, are a bit less on user testing, but are more on the business process mapping. And I tell a bit of the difference because right now the product is there, we build it. So it's not that I don't require too much validation of a user experience or a specific feature and so on and so forth. But what we require, because in this case, a decentralized company, we have different business processes, then we are, again, from a scalability point of view, we need to make sure that whenever country we visit, they kind of follow the standard that we have created. And the reality is that you want that because you don't want to create a custom-made solution per country, right? Because otherwise it's impossible to scale. You need to support it. You need to make sure that these changes are done and maintained. So I think these trips for us is, first of all, get to know your user, get to know your customer. So really meet them. And I think this is a big chunk of it. And the second part is, okay, guys, our assumption is that we cover your 50, 60, 70%, right? Is that assumption correct? Are we covering 30? Because if that is the case, it's a big challenge, right? Because then your platform will not work because there's business process behind they will not enable or they will not be used from your platform perspective. On the other hand, well, we have a 90%, go for it, let's do it. And then you create the excitement, then you create the buy-in. And again, I think the part where also we create the connection. Again, our company is a lot about connection and creating that moment of true togetherness, as we call. That is what actually then will help you in scaling your solution within a country. Because again, and we'll touch upon it, there is, I think a lot of product management are thinking, oh, well, I build my solution, I have my CI/CD pipeline, I push in production, and there you go, done. Yes, true. This is one version, but reality is in a lot of corporation, you will find that, there's a lot of change management, there is a lot of business process mapping and hand-holding with the people that eventually need to adopt that solution. And it's super critical that A, you have the connection with the people there, B, they are bought in your transformation journey or your journey that you're doing there, and see that your solution fulfill what they are expecting, right? So these trips, most of the time, and that's why we typically spend a week, it's really about that. It's creating the connection, making sure that we have a product that fit what you're trying to achieve, and really, start potentially the journey with them. Yeah.
I see. Yeah, definitely. I mean, you mentioned, knowing your user, building connections, and also, business process mapping and etc. So what do you think, in your perspective, what are some key skills or traits that really make a good PM?
That's great. I think, first of all, and I maybe if I draw a little bit on my own career, here it is. I work in a pizzeria, by the way. I sold TV. I had my own company doing iOS development back then and web. I did software for drilling. I did software for retailer. I did, high transformation. I think maybe the pattern that I want to highlight is the curiosity, right? Because I think in general, in the world that we live in, which is beautiful, by the way, I mean, we have so much access to technology, But without curiosity, you will be just stuck with the default, I think, and you will just be stuck with, oh, this is what the tool would tell me, and yeah, for sure would have, right? So I think curiosity is the most important, and actually the willingness to grow and learn. I think a lot of probably big speaker, they talk about this growth mindset, which in my case translated to me is, hey, I have a problem, I'm excited about the challenge, and I really want to understand how can I overcome that. Maybe because I need to upskill myself, maybe because I need to find a different approach. And again, it contextualized into the product management, because I think a rich product management will have different experience, in the different markets, maybe in the different area of the industry, and it will not be afraid to then take on a new challenge, and then, of course, understand a new business problem and how to solve it. So curiosity, 100%. More this is, I don't know how to say it, but it's more, what is your core? Because I got for me, it's very critical, and every one of us has a different core. So what is the thing that you do effortless, right? And if that is within the product management space, and that could be user experience, a user story mapping, or it can be also like a good business analyst that goes. I think as soon as you identify that, then you pivot. Then you really say, "Oh, I'm really good at this. I try to solve as many problems, so I broaden out my scope and my understanding as much as I can, and then I take another area, which is maybe adjacent, right, or close to it." So for me, actually, you say, "Well, you studied 5 years computer science." To be honest, I'm pretty crappy developer. To be honest, probably any ChatGPT or any Gen AI, I think, will be better than me in software development. However, that is then, if I then translate in front end user experience, I think I'm pretty good at it. And that's where, even when I was doing agile transformation, which is like you're doing like a reorganization, organization design, etc. Even when we were there, we had like session on what is design sprint. I was taking this design sprint, which is very much UI UX focused, into the ways of working of agile and so on and so forth. So you see, there is always a way that I think you always go back to what you like, which is ideally your core. So I think that will be kind of the second, I would say, like a skill, but it's more like the critical item. And the third one, and I was actually speaking about this morning with one of our leaders, is empathy. Because at the end of the day, if you don't care, honestly, maybe I take it as my own personal view is that if you don't really care, then can you be a product manager? Can be doesn't really matter, right? I think the empathy part is a key component, because it will give you that motivation. Because I can tell you, this is not easy. It will give you that motivation to really keep on going, because you know that you are solving for a problem. And again, don't get me wrong, you don't have to solve world hunger. It's not that we always have to have, because a lot of people feel like, and I was the same when I started, for example, but I want to have impact. So yeah, of course, you have impact in your own way and in your own area that actually you can drive. So I think that part has to be, yes, empathy for the problem that you're trying to solve and for the people that you're trying to solve for. That is also quite key. Yeah. So again, going back to the first part, I think these are the three main experiences, or
like the skills, traits. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So, thanks so much for sharing about that. Maybe just to zoom in into one specific part. You mentioned a lot about UI UX, So we understand that you actually self-taught yourself these UI UX skills. Maybe we just like you to share more about how that was like, or to anyone who's aspiring to learn as well.
No, absolutely. To be very honest, I don't know. Again, we're talking about back in the days, right? So there was no ChatGPT. Of course, there was Google. I'm not that old, but no. But the reality is that one of my courses at university was building with JavaScript and HTML, like front ends of web pages. Again, we're talking about 2000 something, right? So very, very basic. But Actually, what made me start to get into it, I started Photoshop first, a little bit, and then an Illustrator, but I felt really like cluggy, and it wasn't really my thing. But I came across this solution because I was working in the Netherlands. I came across this solution called Sketch that kind of worked very well with me. It had the same kind of thinking. Okay, you want to create a round triangle, or rectangle, and so on and so forth. I was like, oh, that's interesting. So yeah, that's and I start with it, and honestly, watch a lot of YouTube videos. A lot of people that were sharing, for example, okay, how do you do gradients? How do you do these things? And bit by bit, I think iOS created these guidelines on design, create guidelines on what is a good user experience, and I got myself into it quite a bit. And through actually going back a bit to X, a lot of the designers that I followed through the years, I still have it, and they share inside new tool, new things, and that's why I keep connected quite a bit on that. So in this case, X is working for me because it creates kind of almost a cocoon of only UI UX, and so it's and I don't know why I like it a lot. I just even today, sometimes I have to explain something to my team. I'm quite used to just open Sketch or maybe even a PowerPoint to say, hey, this is how it could look like, and design the flow. So that's kind of how I got to it. It has, though, I think it's powerful because especially in these days, a lot of the work that you have to do as a product manager is also to transmit that information to your customer or to your potential buyer, whatever, right? Now, back in the days, we had these design documents, right? Or these requirement analysis documents that were lengthy PDFs or Word document with like 100 pages, whatever, that would explain everything the tool was doing. Now, as you know, we are much better in understanding a concept when we see it. Even better if we interact with it. But that's, I think, the biggest advantage on user experience. In this case, could be even just a prototype. Doesn't have to be a full-fledged UI UX. It conveys the message, in my view, much better to your final user. So again, you validate with them, and then if they're happy, you go back to development, and then you deliver the feature.
It's so easy to think of PMs as feature deliverers, but you showed us that your journey showed us that there's so much more to that as a PM. So we also looked through your LinkedIn, realized that you had your own startup in school, right? Cappuccino at work.
Yes.
So what was the experience like for you, and how did it shape your career as a PM?
Wow. No, it has been fundamental. Okay, first of all, because Cappuccino at work, because it was me and my best friend, by the way, called Alberto. Say hi. And we were actually at his place in Italy back then. And I was actually going there because we had to do a lot of the exam, software engineering exam. And he was preparing a lot of cappuccino for us, and they were very good. And I kind of said, you know what? Okay, let's make a company. Cappuccino at work should work. That's kind of how we started. No, but the reality is, it's not like a glamorous VC and so on and so forth, right? We didn't make millions out of it. But I think it goes back to, first of all, the ownership, the end-to-end ownership of your salary. That's very important. I think a lot of people believe, oh, I joined a company, and you know what? It doesn't really matter. But it doesn't impact my salary per se, right? And then sometimes you find that disconnect into the drive of people. So for me, at least, having had that experience and understanding that if I don't get that customer, I don't get paid at the end of the month. So I better deliver. I better actually set the expectation right. I better make sure that actually what we create is valuable. You know what I'm saying? And I think that mindset is all over me. I mean, most of the time, and I think that's also the beauty in working in Heineken, right? You have so many different perspectives, so many different approaches to solving this problem. But we are also very, quote unquote, entrepreneurial, right? I mean, as a company, we were talking about pioneering. And that's where, if you have a good idea, the money will be there. The support will be there. And I think that back then, I didn't realize because it was just early experience, but it has created a big, I think, a bigger impact on me. And in terms of also, yeah, you were doing CEO, CFO, key account, front-end design, front-end development, tax paying. So it was pretty much everything. And I think that has been, an amazing experience, I must say. So if you have a chance, open your own company. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be millionaire, but the experience that you get to it.
Sounds like a very fruitful experience you had.
Yeah, it was very good. Very good.
Now,
a lot of caffeine as well. So there are a lot of cappuccinos.
Now we'll pivot a bit. We'd love to hear what advice you have for students and young professionals heading into this space of product management.
Yes.
You talked a lot about starting where it hurts, right?
Yeah.
Understanding pain points on the ground before building. So how can students or junior PMs develop this mindset from the very beginning?
Yeah. So I think there are a few points to it, right? So again, what we said before, very important, be curious, be empathic, and of course have that willingness to really get into in the weeds of the problem, right? Really trying to get to it. Now, I think as an early career, the first thing is that take your time to understand the business. I think that's the first key thing. Why? Because it doesn't matter really where you go, right? If you have a good understanding of the business side, what are you trying to solve? And I'm not talking about only the digital solution, right? If you start in Heineken, if you start in any other company, what is the business about, right? So get that understanding early on and spend the time where no one has huge expectation on you, right? Because it will pay off in your career on them. And then more and more importantly, it will create a good, well-round, let's say, PM, and you will get a lot of, you can't imagine how much similarities across the different businesses you will find in terms of problems and solution. So, for example, again, we have cases whereby we were focused on this problem and we are like, actually, wait a second, they have the same thing here. Oh, what can we not maybe reuse it? Most of the time you can. So I think that part, spend time in understanding the business. The second part, I feel, is that find your core again, as we said before, and don't just accept what is being actually given to you, right? So I think, again, okay, don't play cocky type of thing. I mean, that's, I'm too good for this, by all means. So do everything that is there to create that experience, but also try to find what are these, what is these experiences and this skill set that you have in you that really triggers you, right? And that really actually create that thing. So for me, for example, I was lucky enough to find it when I was in Cappuccino at work, but it took me good 2-3 years within the first company in Shell to really kind of, I feel that this is actually nice, right? So it takes time. It takes quite a bit of time. I think that will be definitely second. So put the time in trying to find the core across multiple businesses as well. If you find that there is a business that you don't understand or you don't like, and move on. I mean, you're young. Make a lot of these experiences at the early stage, rather than just stick around, because of the salary, etc. Don't get me wrong. Everyone is driven by a specific thing. What I'm just saying is that if you have found a place where rewards are there, you are using your core, and you're trying to, you have problems that you feel that are relevant for you, and you feel that you're empathic about, you find a perfect place, right? And you really found where you should try to grow. And maybe the last part is always remember, nothing is forever. So even though you might have found tick these three boxes, just also learn to accept that there is going to be a moment where, one of these things will not happen anymore. Maybe because you solved that problem, or maybe because the support network you had is gone, or maybe because people have changed. So I think it's also, everyone talking about this cliche, right? Change everything, change everywhere, but no one is trained on change, to be honest, and we don't like it. No one like it. So I think do that, build that muscle, and know when actually to move on. Make sense?
Yes. I mean, thanks for sharing so much. We understand that one of your mantras is also, shipping the system and not just the feature. So actually, could you just unpack that for us? And why do you think ecosystem thinking is so important?
Yeah, exactly right. I think the key value on thinking ecosystem first is that even though you are a PM for a feature, you shouldn't lose what is the grand scheme. So what is actually the vision for this ecosystem? So that's the key thing. If you are within that ecosystem, but if you have a chance to build a feature, a product, etc., you can't. How do you say it? You can bite-size the problem so thin that you are just focused on this thing. And that's the key. It's super hard because it kind of goes against your MVP thinking, right? Oh, no, I'm going to deliver on this. No worries. I'm like, yes, but then how do you then reconnect with, you remember what we said? Yeah, you develop MVP, but don't worry. This is actually what we are going to give you end to end. Now, I think again, this is actually one of my last program that I'm working on. It's very easy to then find yourself just into, oh, you know what? I'm just going to deliver this piece, and yes, it solves the problem, but it still leaves too many things open. If you know what I mean, you still leave too many open problems, and that might hinder the ability of your customer to actually use the platform itself. So what I was thinking, and actually when we were discussing actually on the draft on this, I think one of the key part for junior PM is to really start to understand, okay, I'm part of this big thing. Do I understand it? Do I understand where that is going? Then how my small feature that contributes to it, right? So that's definitely one of the key, or these two key points to learn. If instead you are more a seasoned PM, very good. Now you have a lot of this junior PM. Have you told them where are you going with your own strategy? Where is actually this whole ecosystem going? And are you sure that your solution cover for the end-to-end experience? Because if you are leaving pieces behind, you might leave opportunities on the table that maybe someone else is going to take. And again, it's not about land grabbing and, oh, I need to build it all. No, but, there is a reason, for example, this, the ecosystem, for example, the Apple ecosystem, they touch upon every single, we call it touch point, that you are on your ecosystem, right? Now you have the phones and you have the AirPod. So I think that should be embedded in the way we think. Because again, imagine, with all of other companies, you see, right? They build just one part of the ecosystem, right? They are profitable, they're making a lot of money, and they are very, very good. But then how does that ecosystem thinking comes into place? And most of the time it doesn't. So I think that's where, again, thinking ecosystem first is really to say, okay, how this grand scheme of it comes together, and how do I contribute to it? Yeah.
Great. That really helps us cover the how. Maybe we can now talk about getting in and starting out there as a PM.
Yeah.
Many of our listeners are students or fresh grads.
Yeah.
How can they leverage their internships, school projects, and more to stand out as PM when they're applying for PM roles?
Yeah. No, so first of all, if you have a chance to do an internship, just do it. Right? Actually, I have done my internship, for example, in Shell back then, and I think it was a great experience. It gave me an insight into how the company operates. So if you have the chance, by all means, try to also choose a company that maybe kind of connects a little bit with what you like. I think that makes a lot of sense. But again, any company will do. I mean, in that sense, it's quite helpful to just get it through. I think in terms of like projects and things you have done, I mean, what you want to show, if we go back to the empathy and of course the kind of go to back to your core and etc., you have to show what actually have you done, right? I mean, don't forget, it's always important to, okay, I was part of this group study, great, all nice, but can you show me what you can do? Because I think that's where it will kind of come back very clearly. I will say that, oh, this is actually where your core is, and that's actually where it might actually have a good relationship in that sense of what actually the person in the company is looking for. So, for example, hey, I have built this website, or hey, I have run this design sprint, or I've done this and that. I think make sure that you have that. And even more importantly, are you able to spell out the impact? What actually? So it's great they've done it. So what? Right? So I think that, and again, it doesn't have to be, oh, I have made billions. That's not a problem. That's not the point. But it's more like you took ownership of something. You have done it. Very important, because a lot of dropouts, and there is a clear outcome, measurable. It could be like a monetary, but it could also be, we had a social project that we wanted to run, and this is where we can. So I think that part is really important, because I can tell you, as a PM, you also need to be indirectly leading people, right? Or influencing and so on and so forth. So these are 100% skill that you should, demonstrate that you have. And one of the best way I know, it's really tried out a couple of these experiences and documented properly. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, since you mentioned about trying it out, then from your experience leading teams, what do you feel like you look out for when recruiting entry-level PM candidates or like interns?
Yeah. No, makes a lot of sense, right? So I think the key part is that, again, it would be amazing, of course, if there is an experience that relates to it. So again, if you're looking as a product management for a specific retail app, I have done this project in this space, 100%, perfect. Now, tell me about it. What was the biggest failure? What was the biggest success? How have you interacted? And I think a lot of people want to know the story, and it doesn't always have to be bright. To be very honest, I mean, I have actually one of our senior leader. We meet at the coffee machine. And he talks about my project. It's like, how is it going? And don't tell me that everything is right, because I know that there is something wrong. So, and that's super true, right? It cannot be that you're running project and everything is perfect. So, but the point is, do you take that failure and how you handle that? Because I can tell you, there's going to be many failures. I don't have to be a magician. It's going to be many failure in every career. How do you deal with it, and are you able to learn from it and then move on and actually create even more experience for your site? So definitely, again, experiences that you have, you run it yourself, experience that you have some kind of quantifiable impact, and of course, what are the most difficult part, and how have you went on and kind of solve it for? Yeah.
Yes, definitely makes a lot of sense.
Thank you. With a huge surge of people wanting to become PMs these days,
Yeah.
do you see the field continuing to grow, or might be reaching saturation point?
No, I don't. I mean, that you need to be a magician. Unfortunately, I'm not. No, but look, the reality is digital is becoming more and more prominent in our lives, right? So I don't believe there's going to be like a saturation in that sense. And on top of that, I think a lot of the kind of more experienced PM, then they move on into maybe potentially bigger role, directors, and so forth. So I think there's a good churn in terms of these capabilities. However, I think, just to give you an example, the skills of a PM will change. Now, I'm talking about maybe 5 years ago, right? As a product management, okay, I have a new request. Okay, I go to my UI UX designer. I ask the UI UX designer, okay, let's do the prototype. We invite the user, right? I mean, that's kind of thing. Well, guys, I hope I'm not the one telling you, but these days you can do it with Gen AI and it's done. So I think that's where the role of PM will evolve into, now you literally have at your fingertip almost like a full development team. By the way, don't push these things in production yet, but it's still it can create realistic prototype, it can create mock-ups, and allowing you to then even be quicker in terms of not really the time to market or your final solution, but even in a prototype you want to test with your user, you can do it by yourself, which I think is an amazing opportunity. But you need to know what you're looking for, and that's the skill that instead I think you will always have to be there, which is the curiosity we were talking before, right? If you don't have a curiosity, you can create the most amazing prototype, but you will not solve the problem. And people will say, "Oh, it's very nice. Yeah, it's very nice." Or no one wants to pay for it. Again, have you ever tried to publish an app?
No.
No, I mean, try. I mean, it's very easy these days, but
Yeah.
try it. And it's again, I think, I mean, let's take the people in this room. Of course, I will show you an app, and everyone will say, "Oh, it's very nice." Okay, are you paying $3 a month to use it for? $3 a month. Oof, it's half as. But that's true, right? I mean, I'm doing this thing. I mean, I see apps on Apple Store, and it's like, So I think that's the key part. Changing the role of PM, 100%. It is evolving, and you need to be able to adapt whatever are the new technologies to enhance your work. Because in 1 or 2 years' time, I think maybe in 5, maybe it's not going to be even a question. You know what I'm saying? So if a junior PM comes to me and says, "Oh, I will do first my business requirement document, then I will send it," I said, "Okay, yeah, that's still okay." But that is not necessary that anymore, right? You can potentially even do the prototype and then ask GenAI, "Can you create a solution design for me?" That mindset has to be aware. And who knows what's coming? Who knows what's coming in coming years, right? So the adaptability is quite fundamental.
Thank you so much for sharing these valuable insights with our students and our listeners. And I'm sure they will really appreciate your perspective. I know many students tuning in will find your advice especially helpful as they navigate their own PM career journey.
Okay, since you mentioned about like the PM industry evolving, so let's say if you were graduating today instead of when you did, how would you approach building your career differently?
This is a good question. I think first of all, I would try to rely on the quote unquote upskilling side more. Because guys, to be very honest, you are amazingly lucky to live in these days. Oh, you want to learn about HTML, you want to learn about software, whatever. You go online, I don't know, $10 a month or something like that, and you can do you can get that skill. So I think for me, that's really important because I don't know why, but back in the days, for me, it was more like I kind of need to have be in a company, try to solve a project, and so on and so forth. And we didn't really have the means, and not even the technology, to be honest, at that time. So right now there is so much to choose from, which is a blessing, but also it will be my biggest how do you say it, risk. This you need to be aware of what's coming with Gen AI. You need to be aware of what's coming with this new technology. There is going to be things that we will be doing differently for sure, right? Again, the UI UX is an example, but the copywriting, it's evolving day in, day out. So for me, biggest perk will be, I can upskill much better, much faster. I can try many more things to try to find what is my core. Biggest risk is I get stuck, or I get to maybe too focused on one specific part that maybe then it becomes a bit not as relevant in the coming years. So I see both sides. To be honest, if I look again 10 years back, it was a bit easier, just a little bit easier. So I'm envying you guys, but not too much. It was a bit easier because you had kind of the path was there. It was more to choose, again, in a lot of choice, but it was more to choose. I want to become a developer. Okay, these are all the things. Well, these days, if you want to work in digital, I don't know, there are 1,000 courses, 1,000 of position, 1,000 of roles that help you. So that I feel that is one of the biggest risk, to get yourself lost into it.
I see. Yeah, I mean, we really hope that your advice and your opinion will help our users to not get lost in their journeys as well.
Hopefully, yes.
All right, Andrea, time for something a little different here. Let's play a quick round of PM Jenga. How this game works is, for each of the blocks you pull, there'll be a number attached to the underside of it, and from there, you will answer a surprise PM related question. So let's see where this takes us. I think I can start first.
Go for it.
Yes.
We heard it's your first time playing as well. Are you excited?
Yeah. I hope I'm not messing up.
It's a blank one, so
I see one. Okay. No. Wait. 5.
Okay, number 5. Okay, question 5. What is one mistake you made early in your PM career that taught you a lot?
Oof, mamma mia. Yeah. One mistake. Hard to find one. Which one should I start? I think one of the biggest mistake was that actually not involving, let's say, not involving people in the decision making, especially in the senior management. And again, not because you have to involve it for the sake of it. It's more like that. Again, you remember at the start, you might not have the full picture of what's going on around you, right? So having that feedback loop teach me a lot and say, okay, wait a second, before actually all this, what is actually going on in there, and do I have the right connection? Yeah, because I was literally building something that we knew it was yeah, regret cost. So again, in that sense, yeah, if I would have known, or if they would have known earlier, it would have been a bit easier.
I see. I mean, I'm sure there must have been a lot of learnings from that as well.
Yeah. I guess, I guess as well. But yeah, for sure, you involve your key stakeholder for sure early on.
Okay, we'll take note of that. Now it's my turn. I'm going to go with this piece. Another blank one. Not very lucky.
This is going to be hard.
Oh my gosh, it is getting very hard. Oh, okay. Counting on you.
Where are we?
I think either one of the three.
It is one?
No, wait.
No, this one. Nope.
Is it blank?
Oh, you guys are making this very
wait, the previous one had number though, had 8.
Oh. Okay, how about you can answer 8 then?
We can
then we can sort it again. Okay. All right. Okay, we'll have you answer 8.
Yeah.
Question 8 is...
What's one habit you developed that makes you a better PM over the years?
One area, huh?
One habit.
Oh, one habit.
Yeah.
Oof. Read. Like again, unfortunately, it's only Twitter these days, X. So it's not that much. You cannot call it reading, but it's more like be on top of. And I know it's hard. Don't get me wrong, but be aware of what's going on, because again, it's changing so fast that you kind of don't have to reinvent the wheel yourself. Most of the time, you can use these people actually that are much better than me, and you learn from them. So yeah, definitely read quite a lot, get yourself informed. No, definitely.
Okay. Yes. Okay, now let's set this back up again.
So it's my turn, huh?
Yep.
Question 10.
10.
What's the toughest decision you've had to make as a PM, and how did you approach it?
Wow. Toughest decision. I think, yeah, it goes back into maybe kind of managing, actually deciding on what to stop, which is not, for me at least, because I'm really into it a lot, it's quite hard. So first of all, realizing that this is actually not adding much. Initially, the idea maybe was good, but now it's actually transforming to something that is not as useful and maybe as needed. And honestly, kind of bring everyone together again to say, guys, I think this, and kind of this is the toughest part, and say, yeah, sorry, this may be not the most most happy news, but I think we should actually maybe look into stopping this part of the ecosystem. So I think that is definitely one of the toughest, but it's not tough, and it's more because you feel that then of course it will have an implication of your ideas on what was the ecosystem thinking, but at times you just need it, because at times your capacity, the commitment that you have, or even the money and the resources that you have just doesn't allow to spread so much and so thin.
So knowing when to stop is really critical, right?
And stop early, because otherwise it will cost you even more. There is a kind of it's a fallacy. It's quite a common mistake that you feel like, oh, yeah, but I invested already so much. Nah, maybe a little bit more, and we'll say, nah, or most of the time it doesn't. So yeah.
I think it ties into being like disciplined as well,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of being disciplined,
Let's
you
be
may go
disciplined.
ahead.
Oh,
Yeah.
let's try.
Okay.
Nope.
Oh no. Let me try. Oh,
Nope.
also no.
Yeah.
He's good. He's good.
100%.
That is question 3. So, what's the most challenging stakeholder conversation you've ever had? I know you mentioned previously, but what about the conversation was tough for you and your learnings from it?
I think the most challenging one, it was actually, I think in the previous company where there was basically lack of trust and lack of support into the product we were building, and we are putting in so much effort, and you see sometimes, and again, word is varies, and that's also why it's beautiful, but yeah, sometimes people are just not just not concerned of the problem that you're trying to solve, or just not actually, they don't have the buy-in. And I think that was quite I don't think it's tough, but is that you have to look at in a different way. And honestly, you cannot make everyone happy, right? I mean, there's going to be times where someone is going to be not happy with you, or you find that is not actually maybe they're not the right thing for them, and it's perfectly fine, and it's perfectly okay, because again, a lot of opinions, a lot of different views, but in principle, if you have like the sponsor of your project, and that if that start to lack, that trust start to lack, and that thing, then you will have a lot of this really demotivating conversation when you're like, okay, but wait, what are we doing here, right? So I think that part, I feel that if you can work, you can definitely sustain conversation whereby with a lot of stakeholders that maybe disagree with you and accept, that's kind of okay, as long as you have your back cover. But then when is that start to miss, then is a hard moment in that sense. Yeah. No.
I see. I mean, I'm sure those conversations weren't easy, but then again, you also made it through.
Yeah, and I think that's also a thing I we were saying before, right? If you feel that you're lacking your support to grow, you're not finding what actually kind of interests you, and it's not connected to your core, I think it's the right time to move on. Yeah, and again, you shouldn't be, you should just take the credits up until that moment, and then you move on, and then but a lot of I reckon that is not easy for a lot of people actually to make that, because again, we are all afraid of change. We feel that, oh no, but this is actually what I want to do. Yeah, but my ask is always to think about it really deeply. If this is the thing, and procrastinating is actually not procrastinating, is actually keeping in the time, you need to make sure it stops, because again, it's not making you happy, maybe it's not making the company happy, so we have to get to the next level.
Like, it's important to be brave about it as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I'll get the next one. Oh, maybe in the middle. Oh, empty as well. I haven't gotten.
Oh, very good.
I did. Yeah, go ahead.
Wait.
It's the easiest one.
I'm taking 2. That's another great idea.
You can try the bottom one.
Oh,
yeah.
There you go.
What is it?
11.
He knows. He knows.
11 is
He knows.
oh, this is a hard question though. If being a PM had a theme song, what would yours be?
A theme song. Oh man. Wow. That's very hard. Okay, we should have prepared that. this you should have told me. No, Ufa. A theme song. That's very tricky. Hmm. I don't know. No, I'm not actually randomizing. It has to be like of a theme of a movie or a
No,
jingle?
it can be any
any
song.
song, can be
It
any
can be
song.
any
Any
song.
song?
Yeah,
Oh,
like
wow.
any theme, any genre.
Oh, man.
Could be your favorite song now.
No, but no, okay. Literally, this is completely random. Feel free to cut it as well. No, I'm actually, it's funny enough. I don't know why, but YouTube proposed me Eminem. But I was like, I never listened to it. But he has this song, which is, I think you Lose Yourself or something like that. Again, not this song, but you know, when he started, it's like, he's about to come back. To cut this one. This we didn't prepare, but it is the essence. Not the whole song, by the way, by all means. But no, I think the essence of kind of snap back to reality, right, and kind of feel connected to what we just said, right. Sometimes you feel that you're maybe kind of so used to and so in your comfort zone that at times then you need to realize, hey, I am kind of going maybe too deep or I'm getting myself fossilized type of thing, and then you need to get to the next side and always stand up in that sense. Right? Please stand up. No, but you see it as damn YouTube. But no, it is because I think also again, as we said before, right, be courageous into kind of stand up for what you think is right, focus on the problem, and so on and so forth, and have the empathy as well to understand, hey guys, we are not going here, we are doing this. So I think that those could be. I know it's a bit.
No, it's okay.
But
Yeah.
yeah. This is my best.
Okay, I'll be listening to a lot of Eminem after this,
Yeah.
definitely. Okay.
So wait, it's my turn.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, playing.
Oh man. So you're saying not from the top.
Okay, yes, nice. Okay, number one. If you could have a PM related superpower, what would it be?
A PM related superpower.
Maybe to pause time, or to take more naps, or this kind of thing.
Well, 3 kids and a dog. I don't really sleep much, so no worries. But I'm not missing that. A PM superpower. I think honestly, always be clear on what the customer wants. Like having a live translation. Oh, she or he is saying ABC and he's actually ABC. Oh, that would be amazing. And if there would be even more of superpower, it would be more like, actually, this is not only what he or she thinks, it's actually the reality. Because as you know, right? I mean, at the end, unfortunately, everyone is a proxy of its own the reality over his own lens, her own experience, and his own skills as well. So that would be amazing. The clarity. Wow, that will solve a lot of misunderstanding, miscommunication. Oh, I meant this, or I meant that. I think that is going to be, yeah.
Wait, I'm assuming from your answer, you have a lot of these misconceptions during work, is it? With your suppliers, with your logistics teams?
It's not only that, I mean, we are living in Singapore, and you speak with, I don't know, Vietnam or India. They have their own culture. Wow, it's yeah.
Most difficult part of the job.
I would argue is one of the most difficult parts. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, because again, and everyone does it with a great intention. Everyone is really committed to kind of help, and so that's even the most frustrating part. It's not that they're doing it on purpose, but in principle, yeah. I mean, it can be anything. It can be. I can tell. They do this game, right? That they draw in your back, and then you are drawing in front of you, right? That is that it feels like that, and the other person just wants you to win, wants to make sure that you get it, but it's very, and also because most of the time it's maybe a proxy of a proxy, or is an interpretation of what is there, or it's just like truly understanding that this is actually what I want, but it's not the reality. And then yes, that would be the power of clarity. That would be amazing. That would be next level.
Well, we hope that superpower comes true for you one day.
It will. But I think it's not. I mean, the best part of it is that I think the more time you spend on trying to solve these things, the better you are in spotting when are we really sure about it? Maybe we should dig deeper on this. So I think that's also, yeah, it's not a full superpower, so I don't have it straight away, but after a couple of iterations, you get there, I think. Yeah.
Okay, so those are some awesome stories and tips, Andrea. Like, thanks so much for sharing. So before we wrap up, let's just zoom out a bit and hear your final reflections for our viewers. So if you had to give students or aspiring PMs one practical tool, a checklist, or just like a framework that they can start using tomorrow, like what would that be?
So I think maybe three main things. First of all, know how to prioritize. I'm not sure there are many prioritization framework, RISE or whatever. I think why is it important? Because your time is limited and you need to focus on what matters, right? I mean, you don't have all the time in the world. You kind of have to find a really good way to prioritize that. I think the second part is get yourself, personally, buy yourself a copy of the Design Sprint. I think it's a great framework. It's very, I think it's very refreshing reading as well. Jake Knapp really put it very practically how to run it. And for me has been, how do you say it? Revealing in terms of how to use it. And the third, actually, the checklist, this is very simple. Is the third part is do it. I think it's just like as fundamental. And I know, I mean, I'm picking up now mountain biking, right? And I'm watching so many videos of mountain bike and so, but I don't have time to go for it. But that's a key thing. You just need to go out there and do it. And I think that's part where a lot of times we get ourselves into, I'm super trained, I have all this certification, but I actually never did it. And so I think try to balance that a little bit and really try to use the framework, the prioritization framework. Okay, I want to do this. Okay, how do I get to it? What are the key steps? And maybe start small, right? Start small. Try to, for example, I want to run Design Sprint. Okay, maybe you don't run the full thing at start. You start initially small, and then actually you go in the next level. So yeah, these three pieces.
Pieces, I see. Yeah, I feel like everything that you said and all the stories you shared are all really intertwined. So we just like to thank you so much, for sharing your journey with us.
Absolutely.
I mean, we've learned so much about what makes a good PM, and it's great that we got to play Jenga with you your first time.
Yeah. It wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad.
It was good. It was good. It was fun. Yeah. So I hope your learnings and your sharings will definitely be beneficial for our viewers as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Cheers.
So for listeners who'd like to connect, you can find Andrea on LinkedIn.
And with that, thank you for tuning into this episode of Lorong Product. We hope you enjoyed the great insights from Andrea, and you may click here to see all our other episodes.